Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a little lesson where we practice solving all sorts of stuff that we've been meaning to solve for a while. This is practice solving everything, too. It does say to solve each equation or inequality and to justify yourself with algebraic properties. It might have been a little while, but here's what you got to do. Here's your start, and you got to make a little t-chart. On the right side, we're going to justify what we're doing. Or you can say like reasons or, something like that. But on the left side, we're going to do the solving. Right side, we're going to say what the properties are. Well, to solve this little equation here, we need to get b all by itself, which means we need to get rid of this 5 and we need to get rid of the 3 on bottom. Think about which one you should get rid of first. Hopefully, you realize you need to get rid of this 3 first, because since both of these are over 3, the 3 is divided into both of them, so you can't just like add 5 at this point. You need to get rid of the 3 on bottom. So I'm going to take this whole thing and times by 3. Let me delete that. And I'm going to come over here and times by 3. What you do on one side, you got to do on the other. And so that first property there, where we times on both sides, is... Oh man, I'm gonna rewrite this. Sorry, I'm gonna move this whole thing up. There we go. Ah, nice. I'm going to do a little bit of erasing so it doesn't take as much room up. But there you go. Ah, beautiful. Yeah, so I'm going to multiply on both sides. Well, that is the multiplication property of equality. So hopefully remember PO. Yeah, property of equality is what the PO stands for. And we're going to write down what we get after we multiply. So we got negative 5 plus b on the left. Those 3's cancel each other out. On the right side, you're going to get 9. Well, that process where we actually compute the things is called simplifying. So I'm going to put that. And now we got, to get rid of this subtract 5. What's the opposite of subtract? Hopefully realize it's 5. So we're going to add 5, and you add that to both sides. That's going to give me b, and on the right side, we got 14. Adding 5 to both sides does require us to use a property, and that's very similar to this one here. If you do it on both sides, then that's a property of equality. So you got add property of equality or addition property of equality. And then the part here where we actually combine things together and get our answer is yet another simplifying step. So there we go. So that's what I'm looking for on this assignment. You're solving, and you got to list your properties just like the directions say. So let's go to one that has quite a bit more involved. It's got more steps. But we're not going to let that deter us. We're going to dive in. So on 15 here, this is an inequality because it's got that less than or equal to symbol there. Let's go ahead and draw our little t-chart. I'll put justify over here. And now I'm going to have at it. So if you have a big scary equation or a big scary inequality like this, you want to make each side as simplified as possible. So that means you want to distribute, combine like terms, anything. Before you start moving things like adding on both sides or dividing on both sides, you want to make sure each side is simple, and then it makes the rest of it a lot easier. And so I'm looking at my left side here. It's like, oh, how can I make things easier? Well, I would say, oh, add 3 and 4, but this 4, since it's next to the parenthesis, is being multiplied by something. So we got to do that multiplication first. And since it's parentheses, you got to distribute. So the 3 is going to stay out front. The 4 is going to times in. 4 times negative 3p is negative 12p. And 4 times negative 4 is negative 16, or subtract 16 there. On the right side here, these two do not combine, because one's got a p and the other one doesn't. And then this inequality is actually going to stay the same. The only time you flip this around is if you multiply or divide by a negative on both sides. So there we go. We've distributed. And so when I come over here and I want to justify my step, I just put that. That's the distribution property. Distribution. Next thing, I need to make sure each side is simplified as possible. Well, the right side's simplified, but the left side, I can actually combine some things. So I'm going to do that. 3 minus 16 is going to give me negative 13. The subtract 12p doesn't have anything to combine with, so it's just going to stay separate from the 13. That process where I put those together is still simplifying. We're going to put combine like terms if they have variables variable terms going together. Okay, so now I got on each side here, there's only 2 terms. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 terms on both sides. So now, each side is simplified as possible. I want to get my variables together. I got 12p here, or negative 12p, and a negative 7p. I want them to be on the same side. You got to choose what side you want them to be on. I kind of like to put my variables on the left, so I'm going to move this one out of the right by doing the opposite of subtract 7p. I'm going to add 7p. And what I do on the right side, I'm going to do on the left. P's go together, so don't put it over here with the 13. You got to put the p's together. The property lets me add on both sides is addition property of equality, or ADPO. Wait, oh no, it's not an equation, it's an inequality. So I need to change this to POI. Yeah, because it's got the less than or equal to symbol there, so it's POI. But now I'm going to put my, do some simplifying here, well, combining like terms really. I still got subtract 28 over here. The 13 doesn't have anything to combine with, but these two can combine. Negative 12p plus 7p, it's going to be negative 5p. And since I'm still only adding on both sides, I'm not going to flip my inequality around. But the property lets me combine those terms together is called combine like terms, or CLT. And we're going to put that because these have variables. Whereas up here, these didn't have variables, so we're just putting simplify. So now I'm here. I need to get rid of this 5, and I need to get rid of the 13. I want you to think about which one should we get rid of first. Did you think it was the 13? Because I sure hope so, because yeah, we're going to get rid of that first. The opposite of a negative 13 is a positive 13, so I'm going to add 13. And what I do on this left side, I'm going to put on the right side as well. What lets me add on both sides is addition POI, or property of equality. Whoa, no! Silly scrolling things. So I got add POI on the left side here. You need to make sure you keep the sign on this 5. It was subtract 5p, so I'm going to have negative 5p. On the right side, negative 28 plus 13 is going to give you negative 15. And I only added on both sides, so this inequality is going to stay the same. The property lets me, well, simplify things. It's called simplify. What is simplification property? And now I just need to get rid of this negative 5 in front of the p. You get rid of that by division, because that is negative 5 times p, so we're going to divide by negative 5 on both sides. The property that lets me do that is the division property of inequality. And now I got p, and on the right side I got 3, but I'm not going to put less than this time, because on the bottom here, these are both negative numbers, so I'm going to flip my inequality around. So now it says greater than or equal to. The property that lets me actually do that simplification there is called simplify. And now we got our final answer here, p greater than or equal to 3. So, the ones that are more complicated take more steps. But if you just remember, you want to simplify each side as much as possible. So distribute, combine like terms, simplify. From there, you will only have 2 terms at most on each side. And then you can put your variables together and get all your numbers on the other side and finish solving. So we got this. We're actually not quite done because we are supposed to graph our answer. Since 3 is the other side here, we're going to put a circle with 3. And since it says or equal to, it's greater than or equal to, I'm going to fill this in. And now remember, when you're graphing, you're trying to graph what numbers p can be, and p is bigger than 3. Well, which numbers are bigger than 3? The ones on the right or the left? Hopefully you thought to the right. So we're going to shade here towards the right. Yeah. Those are the numbers bigger than p. Oh, sorry, bigger than 3, which p is. And so we're going to put that. So there we go. We had a kind of more simplistic one at the beginning, and then a more complicated one. And now we're going to look at one that's a little bit different. The last one. We need to solve for a. Well, you may notice there's all sorts of variables in this thing, but that's okay. You just need to solve for a. So we need to get a all by itself, which means we need to get rid of the 6b and we need to get rid of this negative 4b. You're going to go through the similar process we've been doing. Usually, we do division last. So this part here, we're going to deal with last. Let's get rid of this thing first. What's the opposite of a negative 4b? A positive 4b. So we're going to add 4b and put it on the other side as well. Sheesh, penmanship. Okay, I'm redoing that b. Okay. So now we got g plus 4b. G plus 4b is g plus 4b. They don't combine. We don't know what g is. We don't know what b is. There's some just variables. They're just unspecified numbers right now. And then we got 6ba. So now we're here. We need to get rid of the 6 and the b. And since this is 6 times b times a, we can actually just get rid of 6b all at once. Do 6b. Since it's times 6b and times 6 times b, we can divide by 6 times b. And that'll get rid of it. And when you divide a side of your equation by that. So we're just going to put it over the entire thing. Right side is just a now. Left side here. Since we don't know what g is, and we don't know what b is, and we still don't know what b is, g plus 4b is still g plus 4b. And when you divide by 6b, nothing changes. It's going to be g plus 4b over 6b, and we are done. There's nothing else to do with that. You just move the things, so use your algebraic skills to move it, and there's really not much you can compute. So there you go. A little practice of solving all sorts of stuff. May that help you on the rest of the problems. Good luck. Don't forget your properties.